Ndị be anyị daalụ unu niile o. Asị m ka ụbọchị nke taa mara na anyị mma. Asị m egbe bele ugobele nke si ibe ya ebela ka gịnị mee na ya ndị Igbo ka nkụkụ kwa ya. Asịrị m unu na ya dịrị unu mma na eke, ya dịkwaziri unu mma n'afọ, ya dịkwaziri unu mma na nkwọ, ya dịkwaziri unu mma n'orie. A sịkwalụ na unu ga-adịkwa ka echi na echi ada agwụ agwụ. Mana oge ugbu a anyị kwere unu nkwa na ihe a ga na-eme n'elu akwụkwọ a bụ itinye unu ihe gbasara maka ana Igbo, ana nke Igbo ji wee bili. Ọ ife anyị kwere unu nkwa, ana ihe na-emegasị n'ala Igbo dị iche iche, ihe ọbụla gbasara maka ihe na-eme n'ala Igbo ya ka anyị ga na-etiri unu n'elu akwụkwọ a. So ọ bụla anyị gba mbọ tiri unu ya, unu kabara unu ga-echa ya bụ ife, ihe ọbụla anyị tiri unu bụ ihe na-emenụ n'obodo dị iche iche n'ala Igbo. Unu etinyelu alụ nke unu, ife unu chere gbasara maka ya bụ ife anyị tinyelu n'iru akwụkwọ. So n'ọbụ ya, a sịkwa m ka ụbọchị nke taa mara na anyị mma ise. Dị ka o si dị, ngwa unu ga-ege ihe Iwuanyanwu kwugasịrị n'iru akwụkwọ gbasara maka ndị Igbo, maka ọ bụ ife anyị kwere unu na nkwa na ga na-etiri unu na Igbo midia. Unu ga-esi ya bifo na drọpụrụ anyị kọmentị unu gbasara maka ife ichere. Right, over to you, sir.
A constitution, a true federal constitution, a constitution that could actually apply and try and bring without a lot of strain to a people who have diverse background like Nigeria. We had a true federal constitution in 1960, 1963, and that worked for us. Later on, they changed to a unitary constitution, which is not right. Now, that is why we in Igbo land, we are saying, please, let us have a true federal constitution. What we are operating today is a unitary government. It doesn't work for a people who have diverse background. Take many countries. If you go to a place like Britain, you have Scotland, you have Wales, you have England, they have a constitution that binds them together and is working for them. It's not a unitary government. If you go to America, America, we are supposed to be following the American constitution. But what they have is not a unitary government. Every state in America have got a certain level of autonomy. Now, I believe that the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu should take steps to see if we can actualize this restructuring of Nigeria. Without a proper restructuring, Nigeria will continue to have problems. There is no way this country can survive. Today, everybody is talking of presidency. In a restructured Nigeria, the presidency will not attract so much attention as it does today, because today every power is vested on the president. As I said last time, for example, a child who is born in South or Southeast in the past 30 to 40 years have not even seen a train before. He doesn't know what it's all about. But we have borrowed money, and the whole money we borrowed was invested in railway line from Western Nigeria to Northwest. So these are some of the problems, because the people in power, the person in power, the people Southeast was not in power, South was not in power. These are some of the problems we have. Now, coming specifically to one of Igbos, our own is very serious. It's very, very serious. We feel very sad about what is happening to us. When we came together as one country, Lagos became a capital. Naturally, in every country in the world, people all work together to develop their capital. The moment in 1914, once Lagos was made the capital of Nigeria, it was the duty of all Nigerians to come together to develop our capital. Our capital, Lagos, became the pride of our country. Igbos came in and participated. I must tell you, Igbos by nature, once they say they are with you, they are with you. They are people who, when they make a commitment, they keep to it. Igbos played, they did a lot to develop the place. We are not saying that Igbos built Lagos alone. No, they couldn't have built Lagos alone. We didn't say that there were no other inhabitants. There were. So the point is that, but you see, right, they played a major role in shaping the destiny of Lagos today. Yes, now, the same thing with Abuja. When Abuja was made the federal capital, it was moved in. Now, today, Igbos are being Igbos are being abused and being insulted, called all sorts of names, called greedy because of their efforts to develop Abuja and Lagos. Even up to a point that people are now saying, because in the last election, a candidate Peter Obi, who was supported by majority of Igbos. Mark you, not every Igbo man voted for Peter Obi, because this is a democracy. There were Igbos in APC. Igbos in APC voted for APC candidates.
All right, Chief Iwuanyanwu, let me come in here.
Everybody is now saying, because...
Chief Iwuanyanwu, let me come in here, yes, please. Thank you. Sorry, you will still continue with that.
Come in, please.
But let me ask a question with regards to that. I mean, we had submitted that your feelings or your thoughts around the marginalization of the Igbo people in Nigeria started not just from this administration, even from the previous administration, and the allocations, yes, especially in infrastructural development, demonstrated that marginalization. So
yes,
a Peter Obi factor was not present in the last administration. So it couldn't possibly be that would be, because that's what you're centering on now. During the Muhammadu Buhari administration, that wasn't the case. Well, aside that, in response to what Ohanaeze Ndigbo have said is marginalization, you set up the Peace and Reconciliation Committee. What you're hoping to do is to preach oneness, yes, across Nigeria, especially something, a statement that was released which was quite curious, that there have been anti-Igbo activities in areas like Lagos, Abuja, and other parts of the country following, the last election. Perhaps could, yes, you give us a bit more detail into that, the experiences of your people, and then, yes, what would this committee, what would this committee hope to do to fix that?
Okay, I will give you, if I wish you will allow me, because it's a very important thing to us. Listen, we actually, after coming specifically before the last election, there have been unverified information circulating in many circles that Igbos have dominated, that Igbos have major investments in Abuja, Igbos have major investments in Lagos. That was before the election. These informations were not verified. There is nothing that verified that Igbos have there is no statistics that prove that Igbos have, but people believe that Igbos have got. Now, after the election, the candidates Igbos supported, one in Abuja, the candidates Igbos supported, one in Lagos. It was now confirmed by all these people who are against Igbos that, yes, that the only way now to handle Igbos is to cripple, they use the word cripple. Several meetings, clandestine meetings, have been held in places where people said that it is now important to cripple the Igbos, and that the way to cripple them is by crippling their businesses in Lagos, crippling their businesses in Abuja. These informations get to us. It gets to me as the leader of Ndigbo. I've got this information. I don't believe this information, but you see, when I see certain things happening, for example, suddenly after the election, Igbo buildings were being demolished in various places with excuses. I have investigated demolitions in Lagos, for example, and it is very clear to me that some of them didn't follow the process of law. Didn't follow the process of law of any civilized society. You cannot come to anywhere and start demolishing somebody's structure without telling him. In the first place, in every place, when a building is going on, if the person has violated the construction, The building people must go as first to market. But however, these people just come in without any court order, without they demolish them. This is not a proper thing. We have raised our objection, and I'm glad to observe that I think the government of Lagos State and all those doing this have stopped. I'm happy because we are not objecting to government acquiring any property for overriding public interest. They can. It's a right of any government, but the government must follow the right. But if somebody have come into a place, invested his life saving, and suddenly he wakes up one morning and see the building demolished, a child goes to school, before he comes back, his house where he left the money was demolished. I think it's a very hostile thing, and I'm happy. Many right-thinking Nigerians are with us. I must tell you frankly that we have, even in Lagos, many people in Lagos are supporting us. So many right-thinking Nigerians are with us. So I believe that this is a very important point, because there is also the threat that Igbos, whenever they have license for anything, it will not be renewed. Igbos may not get contracts on that, but that of contract, to be honest, most of the Igbos business don't get contract. They buy their contract. If you go to Abuja, most of the prosperous Igbo businessmen, they normally buy contract from other people.
Okay, sir.
Because we don't get it. Yes.
Okay.
So the truth about that, then, yes. Do you have anything to go ahead?
Yes, I have a question.
So
sir.
now we're talking about the truth and listen. Let me tell you about the truth.
Yes, talk about
the Constellation Committee. This matter has become so much that myself, well, I'm now the leader. I have decided that the person is to have go to the fact and let Nigerians know the truth. One malicious falsehood against the Igbos was the Civil War. The Civil War and then the coup of 1966. 1966, Igbos were blamed for the coup. The coup was a military operation. Many other coups have come after that, led by other groups. I believe that, you see, it's unfair for Nigerians to break. The coup was very bad. We are not happy that great leaders like Ahmadu Bello, like Tafawa Balewa, and others were killed. But they forget to say that that coup failed, and the person who made it to fail was an Igbo man, the General Ironsi. And even Ironsi, who was eventually voluntarily given power by the politicians, was killed again. And that is how all this trouble we have started. And people have not said that even this secession, when we went to Abuja, Aburi in Ghana for peace conference, and at Aburi we agreed on certain restructuring of Nigeria to make it easy for us in the south, southeast, and south to there. But it was violated. So this is how we talk about secession. The truth about it is that Igbos have invested. Yes, today, young Igbos are talking about secession. They are serious about it. They are serious because they don't see future for themselves in Nigeria. They don't see any future. They think in politics, they don't have a future. They think in business, they don't have a future. But we, the older ones, have been begging them and appealing to them that, because we know there are potentials, there are a lot of opportunities. And above all, we believe in God Almighty. So this committee has been set up, and we're going to produce our own story. We're going to produce our own story about the events in Nigeria from 1966. We're going to produce a book which we are going to keep in Nigeria for posterity to know the position of Igbos. Because today, a young Northerner, for example, will think Igbos hate Northerners by killing two great leaders from the North. It's not true. But when we put our story, this committee will put the story, it will be clear what the position is. The committee will also make contact with leaders in all the various ethnic groups and then find out. I'm not saying Igbos are angels. Igbos definitely must have made some mistakes. Igbos must have done things wrong in those places. So this, my Committee on Peace and Reconciliation, will also find out what Igbos are doing wrong in all the various places. And then we will try to make effort to get them through, because it's going not only to tell our story, but also to visit all these places, because Igbos are everywhere. Igbos, as you already know, are everywhere, and there's nothing we can do to stop them. They are there, and it is our culture and tradition. When Igbos stay anywhere, they live there, and they develop that place. That is the culture of Igbos.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Real quickly, so I've got two questions to ask you. By any chance, would you like to just,
yes, please,
probably if you want to, take us through the kind of conversations you had with Chief Olusegun Obasanjo when he just paid you a courtesy visit? That's number one. Number two, you said you've been able to investigate that most of these demolitions were, racially motivated. Where is your proof? I'd like to see your proof to all of this, the investigations you made as regards the demolition.
Okay.
Your
now,
proof,
thank you very
if
much.
we can get your proof on this. Yes, sir.
Now, Obasanjo is a very good friend of mine. He paid me a courtesy call. He saw me. He said, Emmanuel, how are you? How are you? He came with so many people. I didn't have any private discussion with him. It was open. He came with an entourage, so it was open in my hall, my house. So we exchanged greetings, we talked and so on. Well, obviously, we whispered a few things, which actually there was nothing. There was nothing apart from our personal discussion. So nothing serious about Nigeria. But obviously, we have a problem. We have problems. So the truth about it is, we didn't have enough time because he was in a hurry. He was actually going to meet up another appointment. So we didn't actually discuss much. So there's not much we discussed. But everybody, obviously, we have problems. And I think everybody, well, of course, he knows our problems. So there's nothing, so he didn't spend too much time. Now, coming to the demolition, I can tell you, now let me tell you about that. And listen, and I want Nigerians to listen. This story was brought to me as the leader of Igbos. I sent some members of National Assembly to go and find out the facts. They came there and brought me a report. I sent some leading Igbos in Lagos. They brought me the facts. Most of the reports were conflicting. Some of them said that the people didn't obey. They were given notice to not demolish. But I had decided, because I know Igbos very well. I know my people. No Igbo man will go and gamble with his money when he knows it can be lost. Igbos have lived in Ikeja. Igbos have lived in Ayaba, La Puapa, Ikoyi, Victoria Land. We have never in the history had the story that Igbos don't obey laws, that they go and build without obeying law. That is not part of our character. And knowing my people very well, so I decided to go. I traveled and went to that Boala Ado, that village myself. I went there myself. I spent over 5 or 6 hours. I was there until about 8 p.m. I saw everything. They told me the story. The truth is that, one, the land was not government land. They bought it from the villagers. They call it Omolenle or something like that. They say it's they bought it from, it's a native land. That means, in fact, at the time they bought the land, there was no municipal planning. You see, you know, some part of Nigeria today, natives sell land, and you can build without that. So they bought it from the village. And then they started developing. At the time they bought it, they didn't know that there was any distance and so on. Now, later on, government planned and put up roads in some of those, they planned a layout there. That is fine. As a people, we are not objecting to it. We want anything the government think can be done in Lagos to develop Lagos, fine. Then the government must take the following steps. One, get a court injunction. Go to court. If you assess the property, pay them compensation, because these people have bought it from the community, bought from villagers. They paid. It's not a government hand they lend with impunity. This is a land they bought from the owners, the native owners. They call them Omonlele, something like that. So they should go to those.
Ndị Igbo ọma na-ege ntị, anyị ji kwụnyere na-asụ unu daalụ from Igbo Media. Dịka ị nụrụ ihe Iwuanyanwu kwuru n'elu akwụkwọ n'ụbọchị tata, ka ife iwere ikwu gbasịta maka ya bụ ife. Maka ndị na-amara Iwuanyanwu bụ President General of Ohanaeze Ndigbo. Unu gasị ife okwu gbasịta maka the committee SAT of Marginalization of Igbo release and the true federalism nke ndị Igbo na practice. Ka ife nwere ike ikwu gbasịta maka ya bụ ife, drop all the comment n'elu akwụkwọ on the comment section below. Daalụ nnenu, cheta na ihe anụ abụ Igbo Media, ka anyị si wee na-wetara nnukwu ozi a dị oke mkpa. Daalụ ụmụnne m, ngwa nke mesịa.